Hello, Algebra 2 students. So in 3.2b, we are going to learn how to solve linear systems algebraically by elimination. Previously, we learned the substitution method. This method happens to be, elimination happens to be my most favorite method, and it ends up being some students' favorite method. Graphing is the least favorite of students because not all equations are beautiful to graph. So remember that, whereas elimination works all the time and it's just an awesome method. And I hope it becomes one of your favorites. So there's several steps, but they're not that difficult. And again, I'll read the steps to you, and I'll kind of go look at example one and I'll show you what the steps look like. So, step one, arrange the equations with like terms in columns. So, basically, in that step, you have to put each equation in ax plus by equals c form, so standard form. So, if you look at example one, notice on the right side is a single number. That's what you want. So, that is in standard form. On the left side should be x and y, or w and p, or whatever your two variables are. And they should be in order. So, the top equation, um, the x and y, x comes first and y, the bottom x comes first and the second one comes y. Step two, multiply one or both of the equations by a number to obtain coefficients that are opposites for one of the variables. So what I mean here is if you had 7x, you want the other one to become negative 7x because they cancel each other out and you get 0. So you want opposites. So you multiply by numbers to get opposite numbers. Step three, add the equations together. One of the variables should cancel. That's the easy step, fun step. And after that, it's clear sailing. Step four, solve for the remaining variable. Step five, substitute the numerical answer into one of the original equations so we can figure out what the other variable is. And step six, check your answer. And we'll check in the first one. So if you look at the first example, okay, we have 8x plus 2y equals 4, and the bottom equation, negative 2x plus 3y equals 13. Now, since we're not using substitution, it doesn't matter about there being a 1 or a negative 1 in front of a variable. Here, there aren't any, so you don't want to use substitution. Substitution works best only if there's a 1 or a negative 1 in front of the variable. So now let's look at 8x. So let's look at the number 8 here, and let's look at the number negative 2. Those are not opposite numbers. 8 and negative 8 are opposites, and positive 2 and negative 2 are opposites. That's what I mean by opposites. So 8 is the larger number. So what you want to do is you want to multiply the bottom equation, especially this one. When I say multiply the bottom equation, it's everything in the bottom by a certain number. So the only way to get a negative 8 here is to multiply the bottom equation by 4 because 4 times negative 2x is negative 8x. So the top equation we're not going to do anything to other than write it down. Once you get a hang of this, this is fun. The bottom equation, I put parentheses around. Well, I don't, but I suggest you do. So that means multiply everything by 4. So that would be a negative 8x plus a 12y. If you don't, you're going to get whacked answers. Equals, if don't try and multiply in your head if you can't. 13 times 4 is 52. All right, so we're done with step two. We only had to multiply one of the equations. Sometimes you have to multiply both of the equations by certain numbers to get opposites. Step three is easy. Just add straight down. So put a line underneath. 8x minus 8x is 0. 2y plus 12y is 14y. And 52 plus 4 is 56. Now we're just going to solve for y. Divide by 14. Y equals 4. We already have one variable solved for. Now we just need to know what x is. And you get to choose here. You get to pick which one of the equations you're going to replace the y for. Is it going to be the top equation or is it going to be the bottom one? I like the top because there's no negatives. So I'm going to choose the top. So choose an equation to plug y back into. And you don't choose any of your stuff that you worked out. You want to choose an original equation. So I'm going to use 8x plus 2 times y, and we said y was 4, equals 4. 8x plus 8 equals 4. Subtract 8. 8x equals negative 4. Divide by 8. Don't divide by 4. And x equals, a lot of students here put negative 2, and I have no idea how they could even get it when the top number is smaller than the bottom number. So that would be negative 1/2. Okay, and now we are going to check our answer. I mean, we have an answer. It's well, let's write the answer, what we have anyway. Remember to put x first, but don't box it in until it checks. So let's check. So in the top equation, 8 times x is negative 1/2 plus 2 times y is 4 equals 4. That's negative 8 divided by 2, which is negative 4, plus 8 equals 4. 4 equals 4. It checks. Now let's check into this equation. So negative 2 times x is negative 1/2 plus 3 times 4 equals 13. Now, if it helps you, please put the 1 underneath. I mean, just because I don't do it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. So that's a positive 2 divided by 2, which is just 1. And don't force things to check if it doesn't check. Like if you did something wrong in math and you don't say it's checking when it's not checking. Both check. So this is your solution. Negative 1/2 comma 4. And that's the elimination method. Okay, let's look at example number 2. Solve the system using the elimination method. So for this one, and again, you kind of just pick which variable you want to eliminate. If some people want to eliminate y first, well then that's their thing. Some want to eliminate x, just whichever is easier. So I'm looking at here, 2 and 6 are not opposites. Neither are negative 3 and negative 9. So they're not opposites, but we can make them opposites. So figure out which ones we want to make opposite. And I like the x's. They're pretty easy to make opposite. So the bottom number is larger, 6. So the opposite of 6 is negative 6. So we want to multiply this top equation by negative 3. And that'll give us negative 6x. So we have a negative 6x. That's the goal of elimination, getting rid of the variables by making opposites. Be really careful here. A negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, bottom equation we didn't do anything to. Okay, now we can add. Negative 6x plus 6x is 0. 9y plus 9y is 0. Don't put 0x or 0y because it's just 0. And negative 12 plus 8 is negative 4. The left side is 0. That is a false statement. So false. Therefore, no solution. And the best part is we don't even have to check, nor do we have to figure out if there's no solution, there are no possibilities for x and y. So that is it for that one. That was a nice one. Okay, last one for before we do word problems. Solve the system using the elimination method. So here we want, in order for the x's to cancel, we have to have negative 6 and a positive 6. So we can multiply the top by 6. So we have 6x minus 6y equals 24. A lot of students will put 6x minus 6y equals 4. Therefore, it is so crucial to put these parentheses. Even if you're the best of students, sometimes you make the mistake. Negative 6x plus 6y equals negative 24. This is 0 plus 0. That's 0. 0 equals 0. That's true. Infinitely many solutions. I can do these problems all day. I love elimination. This is my favorite chapter. All right, now we'll go to the back page. Right. So most students know how to solve the system. It's writing the system that bothers them. And I said, hey, that's just something that you need to figure out. It's really useful. I enjoy it, and I feel like you should too. So write a system of equations and then solve each system. Well, we all like money. So example 4 deals with money. You have 25 coins in your pocket, all of which are quarters and dimes. If you have a total of $5.05, how many of each coin do you have? And so in this particular problem, we're talking about quarters and dimes. So we can let Q be quarters and D be dimes. Easy enough there. And we have a total of $5.05. We want to know how many of each coin we have. So Q can represent quarters and D can represent dimes. Let's write our system. Okay, we know we have a total of 25 coins. So the number of quarters plus the number of dimes equals 25. So the top equation deals with how many coins we have. The bottom equation will have to deal with the value of each coin. So hopefully you all know this. Some people tell me, Mrs. Huss, what's the value of a dime? So a quarter is 25 cents. And we write that in cents form, so 0.25. So 25 cents per each quarter. So you times it by how many quarters you had, plus 0.10 for a dime. And you have a total of how much? $5.05. So notice the bottom equation dealt with money value. And the top equation dealt with how many you had. There's your system. Once you have your system, it should be clear sailing from there. Now, you can use whatever method you want. You can use substitution, you can use elimination. For this one, I would use substitution because there's a 1 in front of the Q and a 1 in front of the D. So you get to just pick which one you want. So um, I'm going to solve for Q. So I'm going to subtract D on both sides. So here I have Q equals 25 minus D. If you can, always put the positive number first. And then I'm going to make my bubble because I've solved for Q. And I'm going to, and this is a good review of substitution method. I'm going to replace this 25 minus D for the Q that I solved for in that right there. So we have 0.25 times 25 minus D, close your parentheses, and then do plus 0.10D equals $5.05. Okay, now we're going to distribute 0.25 times 0.25 or times 25 is 6.25. I'd use a calculator here so you don't make mistakes. Minus 0.25D plus 0.10D equals 5.05. Okay, we can combine like terms, these two. So we have 6.25 minus, that's 0.15D. A lot of students want to add 0.25 and 0.10 together, but remember there's clearly a minus sign right there. Equals 5.05. Subtract 6.25 on both sides. That cancels. Negative 0.15D equals, I would use a calculator to subtract that. You're going to have a negative answer. So you have, or you put negative 6.25 on top, 5.05 on the bottom. But that ends up being negative 1.20. I'm not a big fan of decimals, and I really don't like them. But with money, that's the case. We have decimals. And that's why I would use a calculator. Divide by negative 0.15. And remember, you can't have a negative number of dimes or quarters. So negative divided by negative is positive. And that divides evenly 8 times. So you have 8 dimes. Now that you know you have 8 dimes, you can replace that back here. Okay. So we have, let's see, Q plus 8 equals 25. Subtract 8. Q equals 17. So again, we don't write our answers as an ordered pair. Write it as a phrase. It doesn't have to be sentence. So we have 8 dimes and 17 quarters. Since order doesn't matter, you could put 17 quarters and 8 dimes. But just no ordered pair, please. Remember, this is not allowed. Right. Okay, this next one's super fast. The sum of two numbers is 16, but you got to remember sum means add. If the difference, so difference means subtract, of the same two numbers is 4, find both numbers. So what we could do is let x be one number, y can be the other number. You can pick any variables you want, actually. The sum of two numbers, so x plus y equals 16. The difference of the same two is 4. Find both numbers. Here, I would use the elimination method because um, we don't have ugly decimals and so on. And also, if you notice, there is a variable that is already opposite. Hopefully, you see it. You have a positive 1y and a negative 1y. So they're opposite, so you don't have to multiply by anything. You just put a line underneath and add. X plus x is 2x. These cancel because they're opposites. And we have 16 plus 4 is 20. Divide by 2. X equals 10. Okay, and I'm going to replace that into the top equation. Oops. Doesn't really matter really which one. So 10 plus y equals 16. Subtract 10. Y equals 6. What if I replaced it in the bottom equation? You're still going to get y equals 6. So the numbers are 6 and 10. All right, and the last one, which always makes me hungry after I do it. Banana splits cost $3.25 each, and small milkshakes cost $1.95. So I'm going to call milkshakes M and banana splits B. I don't want to use S for splits and S, you can't use the same variable. Let's just use B. You want to take your 5 friends, so it's you and your 5 friends, for a treat, but only have $15. How many banana splits can you afford to buy if everyone has a treat? And I want you to set up for a system. You could do this guessing and checking, but it's not a real good method or technique to use, but a system of equations always works really well. So let's look at how many total desserts or how many people are here. So we said it was you and your 5 friends. So there's a total of 6 people and everyone gets a treat. So the first equation is the number of banana splits plus the number of milkshakes has to be equal to 6 because everyone gets a treat. So we don't know if it's going to be 4 banana splits, 2 milkshakes, or 3 of each, or 1 and 5. We don't know, but that's our top equation. The second one will deal with how much each costs. So banana splits are $3.25 each, and milkshakes are $1.95, and you spend a grand total of $15. Or that's all you have, right? So that's our system. For this one, you can totally we can do substitution, but I think we should do elimination for more practice. So which variable do we want to eliminate? We can eliminate B or we can eliminate M. You just got to decide which one you want to do. Since I'm not here to ask anybody, I'm going to go ahead and choose B. So the opposite of 3.25 is negative 3.25. So I'm going to multiply everything in the top by negative 3.25. So we have negative 3.25b minus 3.25m equals, all right, now I got to do some multiplication here. Negative 3.25 times 6 is, let's see, 30, 19.5, negative 19.5. Okay, bottom equation, we did not do anything to, so we just write it down. And I'll put 2 zeros here. Okay, those cancel because we wanted to eliminate B's. Do the math here. So 5 minus 5 is 0. But remember, that's a negative. So you have negative 1.30 m equals negative, okay, 4.50. Divide by negative 1.30. And m is, I did the division already. So divide those two and you get m is about 3.47. So that is, that kind of, oh, so let's look at the question. How many banana splits can you afford to buy if everyone has a treat? So you can only afford 2 banana splits because of the 3.47 milkshakes. So you can get 4 milkshakes and 2 banana splits, but you can't get 3 banana splits. You will not have enough treats for everybody. And you can go back and check to see if it works, and it does end up working. And that is it for your 3.2B notes. Have a great day, Algebra 2 students.